Good evening, everyone. What a magical place this is. This is a hot spring in the absolute middle of nowhere in the mountains of Idaho. Beautiful location, right on the river. I was gonna start the video out with this tomorrow morning instead of tonight, but I was driving past here and I thought, you know what, let me check it out. I didn't see any cars parked up there alongside the road, so I thought, let me check it out, and man, what a gem. It's the perfect temperature, a little bit hot when you first get in, and then you settle into it, and it's just magical. This is called Mile 15 Hot Spring, and I'm gonna enjoy this tonight, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. I'm standing on a bridge over the South Fork of the Salmon River. In front of me is the East Fork of the South Fork of the Salmon River. This is where the two come together. This is where we're gonna be more or less starting and ending our video today. We're gonna go on a big loop, starting and ending right here. Here's looking out over the bridge at the South Fork. And then this is the East Fork of the South Fork coming in from the right side. A beautiful area. You can see that it has some wildfire damage on the hillside over there, apparently. So I was talking with some guys who came to the hot spring last night after I finished filming. They said that this is all from a fire back in 2007, and what we see now, these trees that we see here now, this is all, I guess, regrowth since that time in the intervening years. Those guys were here elk hunting, bow hunting for elk. I don't think the gun season has started yet, so all the people that I've seen back in here, which is not very many, I have seen remarkably few people back in this area over the last couple of days that I've been here, and it's been the weekend. Part of that is that there's been another wildfire toward the southern end of the loop that we're going to be doing. I think the fire has mostly burned itself out, but we'll see. We're going to be in that area in a few hours, so we'll have some on-the-ground reporting of what that looks like post-wildfire. The initial plan here this morning is to head in this direction. We're going to head south toward a little, I don't know if it's a town. I don't think it's a town. I think there are some cabins and some campgrounds, but it's called Warm Lake. It's about 35-ish miles away, I think. So that's where we're headed, and we're gonna stop and see a few interesting things along the way. So let's hit the road. Also, this road, speaking of the road, is remarkable. I don't know how much of it is paved. I think maybe all the way to Warm Lake. I've driven about 15 miles of this road, and it's just this tiny, like 1.5 lane paved road. No idea why it's paved. It has no business being as good as it is. It is a beauty. So let's drive it. Let me show you some of the views along the way. I don't know if the beauty of that drive really came across in the GoPro. It's still pretty early in the morning, and let's see, how do I get down here? It's still pretty early in the morning, and there's not much light, and the GoPro that I mount on top of the car doesn't do well in low light, so I don't know. Also, when there was light, when the sun was poking up around the mountain ridge, it was shining directly into the camera, so we're doing our best here, working with what we've got. I wanted to stop at this place. This is about 9 miles down the road from where we started. I noticed this morning. It's a hot spring. It's not the same one that we went to at the start of this video, but let me show you this right here. We have some little soaking pools here. I think there are some others over this way. I don't know if this one has a name. It's not marked on my map. As I found this because as I was driving past it earlier this morning from my campsite to the start of the video, I saw steam rising up because it was a cold morning, and so I thought we'd check it out. Ooh, that's nice and hot. A good temperature, but it's not the prettiest spring. Let me show you. First of all, it's not super deep. It's like 10 inches deep. So you couldn't soak your whole body in there unless you were laying completely flat. And then there's quite a bit of algae at the bottom, which is fine. Just makes things a little bit slippery, slimy, I guess. I don't know what all of this stuff is. Let's see if I can zoom in and show you guys. All of these little like whitish, grayish things at the bottom. I don't know what that is. And then we have some dead moths here. Which do nothing for the ambiance. Let's see. The water itself is coming out right out of the mountainside, or right out of the slope of the bank above the river, right there, just gushing out of the rock. That's really cool. And then there are other pools here. There's this one, but this one's in even worse condition than the other one. I mean, this is like 6 inches deep right here. I think there are some others. I see some steam rising over in this direction. Yeah, just not deep. I mean, that's 3 or 4 inches. You know, with some of these natural hot springs, obviously someone has put a ring of rocks around it. And a lot of times these need to be dug out too, to kind of maintain them as a pool, as a soaking pool. I think these need some maintenance here. We have some crude stonework kind of channeling the hot water, again, coming out of the mountainside, channeling it down into, eventually, that pool right there. And then I don't know if these were soaking pools at some point. Again, you've got some construction here, but this is an inch deep and it's, you know, it's just a little puddle. At least that one has water though. This has no water. It's just empty, just sand. And then this looks like the last little spring dripping out of the mountainside. Last little hot spring, but I'm not seeing any pools or anything. It just goes out into the river, which looks beautiful this morning. At home, I have a guidebook that's a guide to Idaho hot springs. It's been out of print for a few years, and the last time I looked, used copies on Amazon were like a few $100s, but it's a great book. Very thick, covering hundreds of hot springs. Idaho, I think, has more hot springs than any other state. It's pretty impressive. I'll see if this has a name in that guidebook. It might not. It just might be a nameless little natural wonder here. Even with things like this, even when it's not like an amazing soaking hot spring, it still just kind of blows my mind that hot water comes out of the earth, comes out of the ground. It's so cool. Anyway, the next thing that I wanted to see is pretty close, just down the road a little bit. It's not a hot spring, it's a grave. So when I'm planning trips like this, I like to look at USGS or US Geological Survey maps. These are the topographical maps that have been around since, you know, the 60s or 70s. And I like to see if there's anything marked on there that I would otherwise miss. And in this case, there was a little marker that said grave. And that's all. And I couldn't find any, man, isn't that a beautiful river down there? I couldn't find any information about it, but I was intrigued, and so we are gonna climb up this steep little hillside and see if there's a grave there, see if there's any information about it, see if we can find anything. Right off the bat, I have found this little path cutting across the hillside. Let's follow this up, see if it leads anywhere. No, I don't think this goes where we want it to go. I thought it might do another switchback over this way. Oh, hang on. Hang on a minute. I see what looks like a cross right there. What do we have here? There's this big cross right here and a little cross right here. Bill Darling, 1881 to 1866. So he went back in time. Okay, let's see, what else could this be? 1801 to 1866, maybe? I have no idea. I mean, this certainly isn't from then. Could it be 1901 to 1966? I don't know. I don't have any cell signal here. I haven't had a cell signal for days. But when I'm editing this video, I'll look it up and I'll put on the screen, or I'll interject with some other video here and let you know if I can find any other information about this guy. There's no marker or anything like that down by the road. You'd never know this was here unless you knew it was here. It's a beautiful spot though. Bill has some nice real estate all to himself. We're pretty close to the spot where I camped last night, so I thought I'd stop and show that to you guys. There aren't great free campsites along this road. There are lots of little pullouts on the side of the road, and that's basically what I ended up camping at. Nothing fancy, nothing particularly nice looking, but I think this valley is just too narrow. There aren't really like nice flat areas where you could pull out and be like right by the river or anything like that. And so I just camped at a not so great little spot around the corner here. There are a lot of campgrounds around here, however. I stopped at one just to check it out. They're $10 a night, which isn't, that's not terrible, but it adds up, and I see no reason to pay for camping when there's free camping around. Although if you did want some amenities, like some of them have water spigots, some of them, all of them have toilets. So if you're into that sort of thing, there are a lot of them around here. They were all empty. There is no one camping out here. I think I saw one person camped, like one camper at one of the several campgrounds that I've passed here. It's crazy. There's just no one out here. So here's the road. It's making sort of a sharp turn, a hairpin turn, and there's this gravel pullout right here on the side. And at the very back end of the pullout, it's where I parked, is where I camped last night. This little nook at the back of the pullout. So pretty far from the road, and there was very little traffic as there was, and so I had no problem camping here. It was a good enough spot for one night. And then that spot where I camped is only about a mile from the hot spring where I opened up the video. So I figured as long as I'm passing back by that again, I might as well show you the hot spring when there's a little bit more light outside. There are a couple little switchbacks as we make our way down to water level. And then from this last little rocky switchback section and a little narrow section where you want to watch your step, from here we have a look at the hot spring. So this is the primary spring. This is where I was last night. But there's also a smaller one that's like a bathtub size. You can see right there in the middle. And then there's this pipe that I guess feeds hot water. It directs the hot water into the primary soaking pool right there. Right on the river. Just a perfect location. And this pool has obviously had some work done to it. You can see there's some cement holding the bigger stones together to create the nice deep soaking pool. And I guess there's another little pool down here. Maybe if it's a really hot day, like in the middle of the summer, it'd be nice to have some hot water trickling down into a pool that mixed with the cold water from the river. It'd be nice and refreshing. And then here's a closer look at that smaller pool. Again, about the size of a bathtub. Not as deep as the main pool, but still a nice little spot to soak. And you can see the water again just gushing directly out of this little cleft in the rock, flowing out into the pool. And then back at the main pool, looking into it, it's not too mossy. It doesn't have too much moss or algae or whatever this is. It's fairly sandy, which is nice. Yeah, great little spot. From here, I'm just gonna drive the 20 miles to Warm Lake, more or less straight through. I might stop at a bridge that I have marked on my map. I don't know if it's a cool bridge or not. I haven't been down that far, but it's a spot over the river where we can get a good look at the river, and maybe I'll fly the drone there. I don't know, but we'll run some GoPro time-lapse footage of the drive, and I'll meet back up with you guys in Warm Lake. Well, if you ever want to know what a mountain lake resort area looks like after an apocalypse, this is it. It is dead up here. There were wildfires in this area until like 3 or 4 days ago, and then it rained, and that really helped put out the fires. There's still a little bit of haze in the air, still a little bit of smoke. I don't know if you guys can really tell on camera, but it's almost eerie how quiet it is up here. The fires didn't reach to the lake itself. I think they came to within a couple miles of the lake. Like this area right here, right on the lake, hasn't been burned. There are some summer homes over there. Those aren't burned. There are campgrounds over here, and I think there's a little store and a gas station, that sort of thing. I think those were all safe, but the mountains a couple miles from here, apparently, like I looked at the map of the fire before this trip, and just, you know, huge sections of land burned, huge sections of land on fire. There was a hot spring over there that I wanted to visit, but that has been consumed by the fire. No idea what it looks like now. The guys that I was in the hot spring with last night said that the road out of here is now open. For the last few days, this area has been inaccessible except from the road that I just drove in on. And you could see on that drive all the fire damage from past fires over there. And then on the other side of the lake, those mountains, that's all burned. It's just, man, it's so sad. And this is not a good place. I bet fire insurance is pretty pricey here, if you could even get it. This is not a good place to come to escape forest fires. There have been a lot in this area, apparently. We're driving a loop today, and this is sort of the rough shape of the loop. We started up here in the kind of the top left corner. It's like a footprint if the foot is missing the few toes in the middle. So we started up here, and then we drove this road this morning. Warm Lake, where we are now, is down here. And so we still have this right side and the top side to drive. The loop as a whole is around 90 miles. I think this section that I drove to here, I think this is the only paved section. And again, I'm amazed that was paved at all. I don't know why that was paved, but great driving, beautiful drive. And so we're gonna follow dirt roads up and over a pass that's around here, and then follow this valley over on this side. And once we get to the top of this toe, this remaining toe over here, there is a little side trip that we're gonna take. Overall, with the side trip, should be, yeah, 90, 100 miles, something in that range. And I figure this is as good a spot as any to refill my tank here. I have more than half a tank of gas. I've got plenty of gas left. I don't need what's up here, but I figure I might as well use it, right? Better used in the car than on top of the car. And then I don't really have anything planned between here and that little side excursion in the top right corner of the loop. And I don't know what that terrain looks like. I guess we'll just drive it and I'll get some cool drone footage for the next 30 or 40 miles as we make our way up to that top right corner of the loop. So I'll see you guys. I don't know if I come across something interesting, then I'll show it to you. Otherwise, I'm excited just about driving today. It's a beautiful area, and again, because of the fires, there's just no one here. There's no traffic, and so it's pretty great driving. I love this little gas can, by the way. This is just a little 2-gallon gas can that I got from Amazon that is leaking on me. Great, I'm gonna be smelling like gasoline the rest of the day. It's on my fingers. But this is a good gas can. I like, some gas cans are just trying to be so complicated. I'm sure there are some sort of government regulations about keeping gas cans from spilling, but they're just such a pain to use. This one I actually like. It's not too tricky. I'll put a link to it down below if you're interested. And that's it. The can is empty, the car is full. I'll see you guys down the road. Well, we are back where we started. Some things didn't go quite according to plan, but we made it, and that was such a great drive. The total loop was 104 miles, but that included 10 miles out and back to the detour that I mentioned earlier when I was drawing the map in the sand. The problem there, so I was trying to get to an old mining area. There's like a pit there and some old buildings. They've been mining gold there forever, and they mined antimony there during World War II to make bullets. Interesting place in theory. But then I got out there and there were signs saying private property, visitors need to register at the office, and I thought, whatever, I don't care. It was a beautiful drive out there, that little, very, very narrow road to get up there. So just the drive was worth doing, but I didn't have anything to say about it once I got there, and so we just kept driving. It's 4:15 right now and I am exhausted. I feel crushed. Driving all day is tiring, it really is. But it was worth it. From the lake, from Warm Lake, that really twisty road up to the top was fun. It was burned, everything was burned up there, but the road itself was really neat. And then down the other side, the valley on the other side, so harking back to the picture I drew in the sand, the right side of that footprint, the right side of that loop, was just going down a valley, and it was a beautiful, beautiful valley. And the road through that entire valley, that entire right side and the top of the loop, that was all dirt road. So about half of the day was beautiful paved road driving, and about half was beautiful dirt road driving. Isn't this beautiful water? Look at that. I could just sit here and stare at that for hours. Unfortunately, my day is not yet done. I still have hours of driving to do. Basically, I'm out of food. I'm not in danger of like starving. I have snack food. I could, if I were in a survival situation, I'd have some, a few days worth of food. I just don't have real food. Like, I haven't had a good meal in a couple days. I've spent one day longer in this area than I had planned on, and so I really want to go get some real food tonight. I'm about 2 hours from town. I'm 2 hours from McCall. And so I'm gonna make that drive tonight. I might be finding a campsite in the dark, I don't know. But let's meet back up again at camp either tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. I don't know, we'll see, but I'll see you there either way. Well, it's not the prettiest campsite I've ever stayed at, but it'll be good enough for the 12 or so hours that I'll be parked here. Basically, I drove around on logging roads west of McCall, west of town, until I found this spot. You can see a pile of logging debris right there. Amazingly, I was able to drive out of the mountains, go through McCall, and as I was in McCall, I got a pizza for dinner and then stopped into the grocery store and grabbed some supplies in there. And came out here and found a campsite, and it's still not quite even dark yet, so I'm happy. Today was a good day. Kind of a weird video. I basically just drove around the whole time, but I hope you enjoyed seeing some beautiful scenery. I know I did. I'd never been over in that area before, and it gives me lots of good ideas of places to go back to go fishing and hiking. Like, there were trailheads all along that whole loop. Trailheads that lead deeper into the mountains. Really, really cool place that definitely warrants future exploring. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite part was. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.